everybody, welcome back. Today is pretty much a college football breakdown because I missed my predictions last week due to some eye issues. Had to take a little breather, so NFL predictions will be out tomorrow morning. But right now, we're going to break down and recap a bit of week one, the games I saw with what I kind of got, like what I caught of. Because I didn't watch every single game, even though I wish I could. I wasn't able to, but I caught the end of a lot of games. I watched the entirety of the Florida Gators Ole Miss game because I am a Gators guy. But overall, we're going to talk about these games, and then I'm going to give you a couple predictions for this week's slate of games. I really don't know what to call this. Week 5, Week 2. It's really Week 2 for me because I'm an SEC guy, so it's kind of how it's going to go. But first up, Alabama, Missouri. Alabama killed Missouri, really. Late touchdown made it look closer. Overall, Alabama's Alabama. This week will be an interesting test against Texas A&M, but Alabama took care of business against Missouri. Didn't watch too much of that. Kansas State upsetting Oklahoma. Now, I caught the end of it from really when Kansas State kicked the field goal to go ahead is from when I started watching. Sage Thompson, he's an okay quarterback. I mean, they had a wide open touchdown pass that was done perfectly for Kansas State's offense, but ineligible man downfield because the guy forgot to report ineligible. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Or rules, I believe he forgot to report eligible. The big thing I took from that, from what I saw, though, is Spencer Rattling. He is talented. There is no doubt about it, but man, does he crumble under pressure. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of teams bring the house at him here now, just to see how he handles it. Kansas State has beat Oklahoma in back-to-back years, so great for them. That's something you can build off of as a program. Good comeback for them after losing Arkansas State. Another game was Georgia at Arkansas, and I did not like the Bulldogs. I watched a lot of that game, and I did not come away impressed. That offense looked bad throughout the first half, and they made a switch at quarterback, and you saw improvement, but JT Daniels, as soon as he's healthy, he needs to go because Georgia looked bad, and it was not good football for them. Very low standards for Georgia. Arkansas, Felipe Franks, he was a lot of what you saw at Florida. He had his good plays, but really inconsistent. And if he doesn't have everything around him working, it just doesn't go well. Florida at Ole Miss. Now, this was a game I saw, and the scoreboard's closer than it really was. Ole Miss could not stop Kyle Pitts at all. Kyle Trask to Kyle Pitts was unstoppable. Ole Miss struggled with that. The one thing I will say about this, and it's not really to critique Florida's defense, and I'm going to say the same thing for LSU. When you have great offensive minds, you give them so long to prepare for a game, they're going to come out and punch you in the face. You got to be able to punch back on the offense side. Florida was able to do so. That's why they won. It'll be interesting to see how their defense bounces back this week against South Carolina. Now we look at Mississippi State upsetting LSU, and I didn't watch a large majority of this game because I really didn't have an interest in it. But when I saw it was late and Mississippi State was leading, I had to tune in. And I saw LSU, and they made a quick 10-point comeback, and then Mississippi State beat them straight out. And it's the same thing I said about Ole Miss, and you have Mike Leach, who is a great offensive mind. You give him a long time to prepare, he's going to come up with a great game plan. LSU's offense, though, it's not what it was last year, and I didn't expect it to be. I expected massive regression, and we saw that. I mean, you lose Joe Burrow, yeah, but you also lost Jamar Chase. You lost a bunch of offensive linemen. I mean, this LSU offense is not going to be as good, and they could develop later in the year, but right now it's just going to be an uphill battle. Auburn at Kentucky. I did not watch any of this game. Did not watch it, but I was watching the scoreboard, and I kept on seeing Auburn score. And I saw him score. Like, I saw it. It was 15-13, and all of a sudden Auburn was up 29-13. I was like, what happened? A lot of stuff happened. A couple calls that could have gone a better way. not the best officiated game. Like I said, didn't watch much of it. Saw a couple highlights. Just nothing really I watched and didn't really break down in my mind. Texas at Texas Tech. Now, Texas Tech blew this game. There's no doubt about it. They blew this game. Again, I didn't watch the full majority of it, but I saw the overtime, and I saw really the end portion of the game. Texas Tech should have won that game, but they didn't. So, hats off to Texas. That's a game that Texas Tech's going to look at and say, that was a game we should have had. And they did, and they blew it. Texas A&M Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, didn't watch. But based off from what I saw, highlight-wise, scoreboard watching, and stats, not a very inspiring performance for the Aggies. Florida State got murdered at Miami. That was not even close. UCF beat East Carolina. Cincinnati beat Army West Point. Oklahoma State beat West Virginia. Tennessee beat South Carolina. BYU smoked Troy. And I saw BYU just against Louisiana Tech. Nothing to be ashamed of. This team is good. Louisiana stays unbeaten, beating Georgia Southern. Virginia Tech beat NC State. Pitt beat Louisville after a scary scene at the end of the game with Louisville's quarterback. I think Louisville, however you want to say it, I just think that they aren't what everyone thinks they are, but they're a good team. But we saw them get beat bad against Miami, and now we saw Pitt beat them. Just not off to a great start. But let's get into, and it says Week 5. Week 5, normal college football. Week 2, SEC football. And I'm going to be picking every top 25 game, and maybe a couple more at the bottom if I see anything that intrigues me. Virginia at Clemson. Clemson bet the house. Clemson is dominant with Trevor Lawrence. I do not expect them to lose the game. Texas A&M at Alabama. Alabama wins. I just don't know enough Texas A&M. The fact they didn't blow Vandy out is not to it does not give me a vote of confidence in them. I think Alabama wins. It's probably close to the first half, but Bama pulls away late in the second. South Carolina, Florida. South Carolina, Will Munchap's not a great offensive mind. I do not expect this game to be close. I expect it to be 20-point difference at the end of it. South Carolina can keep it close to the first half, but not expecting it to be in the box score. Good for them. Florida should blow them out in the second half. Auburn at Georgia, and I'm picking Auburn, even though I didn't get to watch them play. I just do not have any faith in Georgia's offense after what I saw against a bad Arkansas team. Georgia looked pretty dead for the majority of that game, and they came alive in the second half, but it was way too long till they came alive, and I just didn't like it, so I'm taking Auburn. TCU at Texas. Texas continues their momentum. They win. I expect a blowout. Tulsa at UCF. I'm not the biggest UCF fan, but I do think they beat the Golden Hurricanes. And question, if anyone can tell me this in the comments, why is Tulsa in Oklahoma called the Golden Hurricanes? I've wondered this for the longest time. Just, if anyone knows, please mention it. North Carolina at Boston College. Again, North Carolina's not a team that's going to lose many games. I think they lose to Clemson. That might be it. Sam Howell looks really good. I expect them to blow Boston College out. South Florida at Cincinnati. Cincinnati just leaps and bounds better than them. Cincinnati wins big. Arkansas, Mississippi State. I expect Mississippi State to blow them out. I don't think this is a good Arkansas team. And Mississippi State, they have great offense. KJ Costello threw for over 600 yards against LSU's defense. That's impressive no matter what year it is. Oklahoma State at Kansas. Now, this game is interesting because Kansas could pull off the upset. They have a good coach. They have returning players. Just, I don't think they're there yet. I'm going to give Les Miles another year before I really say, yeah, he's done in Kansas. I think Oklahoma State wins, but I think it's close. I think it's a one-score game. Oklahoma at Iowa State, and here's my upset. I was not inspired by Oklahoma's performance. I did not like it against Kansas State's defense. Matt Campbell's going to bring the house at Spencer Rattling Because of that, I think Iowa State wins by a field goal. I think Oklahoma drops another game. Now, I could be dead wrong, and Oklahoma just puts up so many points against Iowa State. Because Iowa State has not looked the best. But I look at the coach for Iowa State, and I just think he knows what to do. He will bring the house at Spencer Rattling, who struggled in pressure against Kansas State. I think Iowa State wins close, and we'll see. LSU at Vandy, this is a bounce-back game for LSU. Vanderbilt, they're usually not good. I'm just going to continue with that trend. Take LSU. Missouri at Tennessee. Missouri, they played decently against Alabama, but I'm going to go Tennessee. Tennessee is just, they have something, Jeremy Pruitt. I just don't know if it's legit or if it's just they've beaten up on bad teams. We'll find out a bit more against Missouri. I don't think Missouri's great, but I don't think they're a bad team. NC State at Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh doesn't blow them out. I think Pittsburgh wins probably a 10-point game, and it'll be close. I just don't see NC State beating Pittsburgh, especially the performance they had against Virginia Tech. Memphis at SMU. I think SMU wins this. I like Shane Buechele as a quarterback. I think he's a not great, but good college quarterback who could get drafted in April. And for the American Conference, that's a pretty solid option at quarterback. Now, there is a game that caught my eye, and it's Texas Tech at Kansas State. The reason why this catches my eye is because it's two opposites. Kansas State is not made to score a lot of points. Texas Tech is not made to play defense whatsoever. So it's going to be, if this game is low scored, Kansas State. If this game is high scored, Texas Tech. I think Kansas State wins. They finished against Oklahoma, and that's my big thing. I saw this team finish. Texas Tech struggled against Houston Baptist. I think that made me really like, wow, how overrated is Texas? And I like Texas Tech. They usually have a good offense. I like their coaches, even though I'm blanking on them. They came from Utah State. I enjoyed what they did with Jordan Love. I think they've done good work at Texas Tech, but this year is kind of a wash for a lot of coaches. Like, I'm not going to say, like, oh, he should be fired. It's so weird in college football right now. Unless you do a horrible job, you should be fine. But overall, thank you for listening. And listen, everyone, let's enjoy some college football. I mean, we got football on this weekend. Even though we've had some COVID scares, have to take some college football games out and delay the Steelers-Titans game. Let's just enjoy football and have a blast and watch it, and have a great day.